So the NHL is talking about expanding once again, and they've asked me stick on the ice to create a new team for them, and that's exactly what I've done. So meet the new Mexico Outlaws. However, there's one thing that the NHL didn't tell me, and it's that there's going to be no expansion draft, but instead I have to go ahead and sign as many free agents as possible to build our team. So clearly we're not going to have a great team, but I'm going to rebuild this team here, and we're going to win some Stanley Cups. So this is going to be a 3-part series where each part's going to consist of 5 seasons. For video number 1, we're going to focus strictly on rebuilding the New Mexico Outlaws. This team looks terrible right now. Like, our best player is Phil Kessel at an 80 overall. Video number 2 will consist of us continuing to rebuild the New Mexico Outlaws, but we're definitely going to be a better team and competing for Stanley Cups. And in the final video, we're going to be doing the final 5 seasons of the rebuild. That's when this team's going to be at their peak, and they're going to be competing for Stanley Cups and trying to certify themselves as a dynasty. On top of that, there are some restrictions when it comes to free agency, as I'm only allowed to make 3 signings per year, but I'm only allowed to sign players under 85 overall. So a majority of the rebuild is going to be coming from drafting and completing trades. And personally, I think that's the most enjoyable way to do it. And then our final rule is going to be I'm allowed to play 1 game in each playoff series, but the second I lose a game, I can no longer play any. So if I play a game in the first round and lose, then I can't play any games in the second round, conference finals, or Stanley Cup. Now that we know all the rules here, let's go ahead and simulate through season number 1. And if you're excited for this brand new New Mexico Outlaws series, then make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any episodes, and it'll also help me pass the Detroit Red Wings and YouTube subscribers, because we're still trying to do that. Now, we're only a couple weeks into the season here, but we've been offered a very interesting deal here, 2 second-round picks for Sean Couturier. Now, normally I wouldn't make a deal like this, but Sean Couturier could be a very interesting piece for the team. 86 overall, he's got some X factors, 30 years old. You know what? I don't really think he necessarily fits the timeline here, so I think I'm going to be saying no to this deal. But Sean Couturier definitely could be an interesting piece for our team. We can make him the captain. He could lead the way for the next 5 seasons. But I just feel like he's going to be declining pretty quick here. And for some reason, our team's exceeding expectations. We're 6-5-1. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. So we've reached the trade deadline. I think it's safe to say the New Mexico Outlaws are definitely exceeding expectations right now. We're not dead last in the entire league here. 24-31-8. We have to remember, we're comprised of strictly free agents right now. So everyone on our team, other than Phil Kessel, is below an 80 overall. But yet somehow we're still not worse than the entire league. We're going to ignore this team right here. The simulation's just screwing them. Yeah, that's a tough look, I'm not going to lie. So obviously, since we don't have a ton of superstars, we're not going to see any ridiculous scoring, but Phil the Thrill Kessel, you might as well call him a superstar. 53 points here, 20 goals, 33 helpers. You're definitely going to have some trade value, and we're going to be shipping you out here. Meanwhile, when it comes to goaltending, John Gillies, bro, you are locked in. A 940 and a 219? What is going on? So when it comes to rebuilding the New Mexico Outlaws, we need to pick up a lot of young talent, and I think Seth Jarvis from the Carolina Hurricanes could be a nice addition to the team here. He's only 22 years old and he's already an 84 overall. He's got top 6 potential. I think we'll sign him to a pretty good extension once we make this deal. So Phil Kessel in a 4th rounder, I'm sending you over to Carolina for Seth Jarvis. Unfortunately, Carolina's saying no to that deal, so I'll throw in a 6th rounder, and hopefully that'll be enough to get this deal done. It's going to be enough, and we just picked up a nice piece for our core here. Now, I don't necessarily want to give up a lot of draft compensation when it comes to these deals right here, but picking up a guy like Christian Kyrou could be pretty good for our team. He's a young player, 20 years old, and he's already a 75 overall. Through making a trade like this, we already know what we're going to get, and I highly doubt with a 3rd round pick we're going to get something better than Christian Kyrou, so I'm going to make this deal with the Dallas Stars here. Well, I'm going to try to make a deal with the Dallas Stars. Similar to our last trade, I think a 6th round pick can be the difference maker here, so I'm sending this over to the Dallas Stars, and they're going to be saying yes to that deal, so we just picked up Christian Kyrou. Now, I think this is going to be our last deal here. Josh Bailey over to the Washington Capitals for Sonny Milano. Now, Sonny Milano is definitely not the youngest player in the world, and he's probably not going to be here for the long run, but you know what? An 82 overall at 1.9 million, I'll take that deal. And through completing those 3 moves, I think we're going to call it here, and let's simulate to the end of the season, and then ideally get the 1st overall pick, because we're in desperate need of that. Now, we have to consider where this team is right now when it comes to this waiver claim. We're not that great of a team in Hayek. He's a 78 overall. He would probably be our best defenseman, so I think we should make that move. It will also give Christian Kyrou someone to play with. Now, Seth Jarvis, I think you're going to be a very important piece to the team. You're going to be playing a lot of top 6 minutes, so if we can lock you down to an 8-year deal at 4.4, I think that's going to age very well for us. Meanwhile, when it comes to Hayek, we really don't have any better defensemen than him, so 4 years at 1.3 million, why not? With the season wrapping up here, I couldn't tell you how we did this good. 25th in the entire league, 36, 37, and 9. I was expecting us to be dead last in the entire league and by a wide margin, but here we are. Who would have thought? Now, when it comes to the scoring leaders, I'm not really overly surprised that Seth Jarvis led the way here, but the question I do have is what did he do since coming over to the team? 10 goals and 7 assists, 17 points in 19 games. That's some not bad production from him. Similar to Seth Jarvis, I'm curious to see what Sonny Milano did. He was playing some first line minutes for us, 17 points in 19 games. I think that was a great pickup for us. Meanwhile, when it comes to goaltending, neither of these goalies actually played that bad. Halak had a 914 while Gillies had a 920. We're going to ignore the goals against here because we basically did have no defense. So a 914 to 920 with no defense, those are actually pretty good numbers. Of course, we do know we're not going to be making the playoffs here because our team does suck, but the Toronto Maple Leafs, you're finally going to be hoisting the Stanley Cup here. You're taking down the Dallas Stars in a sweep. But this is where things get interesting. What's the draft lottery going to be telling us? Are we going to be jumping to number 1? Because that would be ideal. It doesn't look like it. We're going to be getting the 10th overall pick. We're dropping from 9 to 10. Meanwhile, Winnipeg's jumping from 11 to 1. Yeah, you hate to see it. You really do. So with the 10th overall pick, I decided to go with Kivi Haru, and the reason I went with him over a couple other players available, every single video I do, this man turns into an absolute beast, so I'm hoping that happens for us today. But it turns out that Kivi Haru is actually not going to be our best selection here because in the 5th round, we're going to be securing a low elite potential two-way forward. So we've officially reached free agency, and now it's time to make 3 moves, and the first one's going to be Max Domi to a 4-year deal at $3.5 million. Actually, we'll make that 3.6 because I really want him to join the team. And if you're wondering why I'm offering more than the asking price, we're one of the worst teams in the entire league. We're going to have to pay to get these guys. So our next move is going to be bringing in Shellington to a 2-year deal at $4 million. Clearly, our defense needs a lot of help, and I think he's going to provide some help for us. And to finish it all off, we're going to be doing more of a high risk, high reward deal here. It's going to be 5 years for Daniel Sprong at $4 million. We're going to give him a ton of first line minutes. Hopefully his overall develops into like an 86, 87 overall. And then by the time we trade him, he's going to have a ton of trade value. So those are going to be the 3 signings we're going with. I'll make a couple moves to the coaching staff and sign a couple scouts, and then we'll get ready for next season. Well, the high risk, high reward move and Daniel Sprong is actually not working out for us because he's not going to be signing with the team. Yeah, that's tough. That's real tough. Similar to the Daniel Sprong deal, Max Domi's also not going to be signed to the team, so the only guy we got was Shillington. It's time for us to go back into free agency and pick up some scraps. Since we were unable to get Max Domi and Sprong, I guess we're going to have to sell with Victor Olofsson to a 3-year deal at $3.2 million. So the plan with Blake Wheeler is I'm going to sign him to a 1-year deal here. He's going to play on the first line along Seth Jarvis and Sonny Milano, and then at the trade deadline, we'll flip him at 50% retained and get a couple players for him, maybe even some draft compensation. Now the team's definitely seen improvements here. Sonny Milano, Blake Wheeler, Victor Olofsson, and the reason Victor Olofsson's on the first line over Seth Jarvis is Olofsson has the perfect line fit, so I want him getting a ton of minutes. Defensively, we have a decent defense here. The only issue is none of these guys have good line fits, so that's really what's holding us back. Eventually, we'll bring in a new coach that fits with the defense a bit better, and then Christian Kyrou and Shillington, they'll have better fits here. And then to finish it all off, of course, we got Yaroslav Halak still in between the pipes for us, and we're also going to have John Gillies here. Both of these goaltenders played fantastic last season, so we'll bring them back for another year, and then maybe over the offseason, we'll actually sign a goaltender for the future. Now, it really shouldn't be a surprise we're one of the worst teams in the league here. Actually, we are the worst. 33rd here with a 21, 36, and 6 record. But there is one thing that's very surprising. It's our leading scorer. Because what world are we living in when 40-year-old Eric Stahl is picking up 23 goals and 30 helpers for 53 points? Out of all the players on our team, Eric Stahl is leading the way. Ain't no way. But I guess the one positive with Eric Stahl having a great season like this, he has some trade value alongside Blake Wheeler, so we're going to make some moves here. So we already knew I was going to be trading Blake Wheeler at 50% retained, but the question was which team was he going to be sent to, and I think it's going to be the Nashville Predators as we're going to try to pick up Tomasino here. But it shouldn't be much of a surprise. It's going to take more than Blake Wheeler, so I threw a 5th round pick in the deal, and we're getting this done. Well, I thought we would have got this done, but who knows, maybe a 7th round pick can be the difference maker here, and it looks like it will be, and we're getting this deal done, and we picked up another nice young prospect. Actually, I don't know why I called him a prospect. He's probably like 21, 22 at this point, and he's already been playing in the NHL a couple years. Just ignore what I said. So after making that move to pick up Tomasino, I think Hoglander would also be a nice young piece to the team. He's 24 years old, already an 82 overall. He's got top 6 potential, and all we're going to be really losing is Eric Stahl here. He's 40 years old. I'm perfectly fine with making this deal. I'm going to be honest, I have no clue why I'm attempting the deals I am. Like, why did I think Eric Stahl would be enough for Hoglander? 1 for 1. Eric Stahl in a 7th though? That's going to be happening. Now, although we had a worse record this season, I don't think anyone would disagree that we were definitely a better team. We're going to be finishing 31st in the entire league, 30, 44, and 8. Columbus and San Jose, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. Seth Jarvis is going to be having himself another great year. He's picking up 60 points, 17 goals, 43 assists. Victor Olofsson, 55 points. Can't complain with that. And Sonny Milano, 51 as well. Everyone's having good seasons here. The real question is, Tomasino, what did you do since we acquired you? What are your numbers looking like? 12 points in 19 games, not too bad. And Hoglander, what are your numbers looking like? 9 points in 19 games. I'm expecting a bit more from you, but hey, the numbers could be worse. Meanwhile, the goaltending numbers this season, definitely not nearly as good. Halak, a 906, and Gillies, an 882. Last season, y'all were on something different. This season, however, reality set in. But you know what's definitely not a reality? The Edmonton Oilers winning the Stanley Cup in a sweep over the Buffalo Sabres. I'm sorry, Oilers fans, but y'all are way too dependent on Connor McDavid. When Connor McDavid wasn't playing good, you were one of the worst teams in the entire league. Now that he's playing good, y'all are on a winning streak. If this man ever got hurt and missed 25 games, y'all are cooked. You're getting the first overall pick. So now that we know nothing extraordinary is happening with the team, let's go ahead and simulate to the draft lottery and then hopefully get the first overall pick this time around and not get screwed here. We're dropping from 3 to 5. So with the 5th overall pick, we can either select Roger McQueen or Jordan Gavin. Honestly, I don't think it really matters which of these two guys we select. So we're going to go with Roger McQueen, seeing as he is projected 5th overall. So Hoglander's still pretty young, and for the duration of this contract, he's going to continue to get better. 5 years at $4.2 million. I think that's going to age well for us. So this deal is a bit expensive for what we're actually going to be getting. Ryan Lindgren, 84 overall, 5 years at $6 million. But defensive defensemen are very hard to come by, and Ryan Lindgren, he's a great one, so we better bring him to the team. So this is the second video in a row where Sam Bennett, for some reason, his asking price is incredibly low. So we're going to do 4 years at $3.2 million. I don't know what's going on, but Sam Bennett, $3.2 million, I'll take it. And then for our final move, we'll bring in a defenseman for the next 3 years at $2 million. That's not a bad price for a 27-year-old who's an 80 overall. On top of making these free agent signings, we gotta give out some contract extensions here. And Tomasino, 5 years at $1.7 million, I'll definitely take that. Or do we go 8 years here at like $2 million? Actually, I like that contract a bit better. We're doing 8 years at $2 million. And Sonny Milano, I can't believe you'd be willing to accept this deal because you're up to an 85 overall. Your development's been fantastic for us. 4 years at $4.5 million. That's an absolute steal. And you know who else is going to be a steal for us? Christian Kyrou. We're doing 8 years at $1.5 million. A high risk, high reward deal. You're only 21 years old, but you're up to a 79 overall. You're going to have a good defensive partner this season. The sky's the limit for you. And with a contract like this, that's going to work fantastic with the team. Now, Victor Olofsson, you were fantastic for us last season, an 85 overall. You had some decent numbers here, 55 points in 82 games. You were minus 23, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. Since we acquired you, your trade value's gone up quite a bit, and you still have 2 years left on your deal. Now the question is, am I willing to retain 50% of Victor Olofsson's money to send him over to the Buffalo Sabres so we can pick up Devin Levi? We would be retaining about $1.6 million for the next 2 years, but we do get an 85 overall goaltender that has medium elite potential. He's got some X factors already. This could be the right move for us. Unless a guy like Kiefer Bellows can somehow make the difference and we could get a deal done like this, I highly doubt it, but you know what I'm going to try? That's an absolute steal for us. We didn't have to retain any money on Victor Olofsson, and now we have our goaltender for the future. Now, I said I'm only allowed to make 3 free agent signings per season, and that rule is not going to be changing. However, we don't have enough forwards under contract here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate the rest of free agency, and then right at the end of free agency, the CPU is going to sign 3 more forwards for me, and whatever they give me, that's what I'm going to have to work with. So as we can see, the team's been taking some massive upgrades here. Roger McQueen, Sonny Milano, and Seth Jarvis are going to be on the first line. On the second, we're going to see Josh Archibald, Tomasino, and Hoglander. And then on that third line, we also have Sam Bennett here. Ideally, I would play him on the second line here, but then they lose that +2 overall boost, and I don't really want the team to be losing that. So defensively, this is what we're going with. Kivi Haru and Jordan Kyrou are going to be our top pairing here. I understand Kivi Haru is only a 76 overall, and playing him on the top pairing probably isn't the smartest decision in the world, but they are getting a +3 overall boost for line chemistry, so I think he can hold it down. While our other 2 pairings, pretty solid here. And then to cap it all off, of course, we picked up Devin Levi over the offseason. He's up to an 87 overall. He's definitely the future goaltender for this team. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest. I did not think it was actually possible for us to be this bad this season. 17, 37, and 10. I thought we were headed in the right direction. I mean, we clearly are. We've been developing a lot of great young prospects here. We just have to give them a bit more time to develop. But only 17 wins at the 64 game mark? Yeah, it's not ideal. Also, we don't play defense here, so that doesn't help. I mean, to to be fair, am I really surprised that we're not doing that great? Seth Jarvis, 56 points, 26 goals, 30 helpers. Good season from him. Sonny Milano, I can't complain about this production. Roger McQueen, you're looking absolutely elite right now. We just got to make some moves to improve the team for next season. The young core looks great. I don't really want to change that up. But you know what? We could trade a guy like Josh Archibald away. He's definitely not going to be here next season. He's 33 years old, but he's got 43 points. He should have some trade value. Also, we're not looking at Devin Levi's numbers. I already know those are cooked. So when it comes to making moves here, this is the first one we're doing. Shillington over to the Edmonton Oilers. And we're going to be picking up Dylan Holloway and Broberg. But of course, we're not going to be able to get this done without the lucrative 7th round pick, because we already know that's going to make the difference here. Never mind. It has to be the lucrative 6th round pick. Imagine an NHL deal not going through because a team didn't include a 6th round pick. That would be wild. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to accept this deal unless you give me the 170th overall pick. Like, what are we doing? So we're going to be giving up a ton in this deal. A 6th and 7th round pick. We already know how valuable those are. That's going to be packaged up alongside Josh Archibald, and we're going to be picking up Nick Robertson. I know we just gave up a ton there, like a 6th and 7th round pick. Stick on the ice is getting out of hand here. He's lost his mind giving up draft picks of that quality. And it actually turns out that those last 2 trades we did aren't going to be the final move, because Francouz got placed on waivers. He might be 35 years old, but he's an 80 overall. Let's bring him to the team, why not? After picking up Broberg from the Edmonton Oilers, I'm going to be giving him an extension here, 4 years at just under $2.4 million. He's going to be a good third pairing defenseman for us. On top of signing Broberg, we're also going to be signing Dylan Holloway to a 4-year deal, and that's going to be at $1.6 million. Now I'm going to make a statement right here. Next season, 20th in the entire league. We're going to be a borderline playoff team. This season, on the other hand, we're not going to talk about 21, 51, and 10. We actually have a good team here. It's just incredibly young. The guys haven't developed yet. Once they start developing, though, it's over for the rest of the league. Like, it's only a matter of time before a guy like Seth Jarvis breaks out. He's an 84 overall at 24 years old. He's consistently putting up great numbers. He's jumping to an 86 at the beginning of next season. Roger McQueen, he's probably going to be up to an 82 overall. Sonny Milano, he's going to jump to an 87. He'll get a couple X factors. Tomasino, he'll go up to an 81. This team's going to start improving here. Jordan Kyrou, he'll be up to an 82. I just called him Jordan Kyrou. It's Christian Kyrou. I caught myself on that one. The team doesn't look great right now. Like, look at the plus minus. Devin Levi, I'm very scared to look at your numbers. That is ugly. That is very ugly, but we're not worried about that. The team's getting better. Trust me on that. Meanwhile, in case you were wondering what happened in the postseason, Florida's going to be winning their first ever Stanley Cup. So show it to them. Bruh, I wasn't even paying attention and I just realized we dropped from 1 to 3. Ain't no way we were that bad and then proceeded to drop from 1 to 3. And I can guarantee you the guy that's projected number 1 overall probably has franchise potential. So here we go, jumping into the entry level draft. We're going to simulate the first 2 picks. And I just want to see if anyone with franchise potential gets drafted here. So with the first overall pick, medium franchise potential. Who would have saw that one coming? Second overall pick, medium elite potential. I mean, we're going to be left with Gavin McKenna. I'm not going to complain about that, but he's actually projected 4th. We could go with this guy right here. Now, we don't necessarily need a playmaker, but Gavin McKenna, can I really pass up on him? Because that's a great selection. This is going to be a tough pick. You know what? I'm not really going to debate too much here. We're selecting Gavin McKenna, and then Tomasino, I'm going to be trading you. And the only reason I'm trading you is because we picked up Gavin McKenna. He's only like 2 overalls lower than you, but he's like 6 years younger. It's kind of hard to pass up on Gavin McKenna. I'm just going to keep it a stack. And it looks like Gavin McKenna is not going to be the only elite potential player we're getting, because with the 34th overall pick, we're going to be securing a medium elite potential goaltender, and he's already a 67 overall. And we're not done there, because in the 3rd round, another medium elite potential goaltender. So these 2 guys are definitely going to be battling out for who's the future goaltender of the team. With our first free agent signing, we're going to be doing a 3-year deal with Ruzicka. It's going to be a 3x3. I think he'll be a nice piece to the bottom 6. On top of picking up Ruzicka, William Carrier would also be a nice addition to the bottom 6, so we'll do 2 years at $2.1 million. And to finish off our free agent signings, I'm actually perfectly okay with Tyler Johnson, 1 year at $1.7 million. Now that Gavin McKenna's here, we really don't need Tomasino, but I'm having a very difficult time trading him away because we already know he has a great fit on the second line here, and look at this contract. 8 years remaining at $2 million. You can't get a contract any better than that. But then again, Mikey Anderson would be a nice piece to the defense. Kaliev, he could definitely help the bottom 6 here. I think we got to make this trade. I think this trade will definitely help us out. They're saying no, but we're just a bit low, so you already know what we got to throw in. The most valuable draft pick in the history of the NHL, the lucrative 7th round draft pick. There we go, we got the deal done. That should help our team a lot. So So this is going to be potentially a very risky move for us. We're going to trade Dylan Holloway here because he doesn't fit on the bottom 6, and we're going to pick up Kyle Yamamoto, and we're just going to pray he fits on the bottom 6 here. I mean, there's a very good chance he does, but you just never know when making deals like this, so let's hope for the best. So at one point we tried to sign Daniel Sprong, but he decided to go to the Seattle Kraken. This time you can't say no because we're trading from Nick Robertson, a medium-elite potential goaltender, over to the Seattle Kraken, and we got Daniel Sprong. Never mind, we got to add something else to the deal. In Seattle, I just acquired your 4th round pick in the Yamamoto deal, but now I'll give it back to you in order to get Daniel Sprong. Okay, seriously, what else do you want? Here's a 6th round pick. Of course, the 6th round pick makes the difference. After picking up Kaliev for the LA Kings, we're going to be giving him an extension as well to keep him on the team. We'll do 5 years at $5.4 million. He's going to be playing some big second line minutes for us, so I think his development's going to be pretty good and that contract will age well. Now, Daniel Sprong, I could probably sign you to a 5-year deal at $4.2 million, but I'm not really sure if I want to do that if you're playing third line minutes for us. So I'm going to hold off on that extension. But with everything all said and done, this is what the team's looking like. Roger McQueen, Sonny Milano, and Seth Jarvis on the first line. Then we're going to have Kaliev, McKenna, and Hoglander on the second. The bottom 6 here actually looks really good, including that 4th line. I mean, I think we got a pretty solid team here. We should be able to make the postseason. Defensively, Mikey Anderson and Christian Kyrou are going to be leading the way here. And then the next 2 pairings, those are looking really solid. Kivi Haru, he's going to be playing second pairing minutes this season, but he's getting a +2 overall boost. I think that's actually a better fit for him. While Ryan Lindgren, he actually has a perfect fit on the 3rd pairing, and he's going to be playing that with Philip Broberg. I think this team's going to make some big moves this season. And if you're going to make moves, you need a great goaltender, and that's what we have in Devin Levi. Medium elite potential still. He's an 86 overall. He's got X factors. Are we going to win ourselves a Stanley Cup this season? I doubt it, but we're definitely going to be competing. Alright, so before we get to the trade deadline here and trade Daniel Sprong away, you're looking at our record and saying, wow, that's not much of a surprise. You guys suck 27, 33, and 3. What if I told you this record is actually a lot better than what you think? Because this is what we did to start the season. We started the season 1-11-1. We won 1 game in our first 13. After that, we actually weren't playing too bad. 27, 33, and 3. That's actually a pretty good record considering we started 1-11-1. If you were to take out those first 13 games, we went 26, 22, and 2. Not a great record by any means, but definitely a lot better than this. So I think this is probably going to be the lone move we make this season. Daniel Sprong over to the Vancouver Canucks. We're going to pick up Sharov, an 81 overall, 19-year-old. He's a good playmaker. That would fit on the bottom 6 for us. We're also going to be getting a 3rd round pick in the deal. Well, maybe we won't be getting a 3rd round pick. We might just be going 1-for-1 here, but I think this deal is going to work out well for us. Okay, y'all need to hear me out here. Our 1st round pick for next season over to the Ottawa Senators for Brady Tkachuk. He'll have 1 more year left on his deal after this one. He's an 89 overall power forward. He can play on our first line. I actually really like this deal. I'm willing to do this. I'm not overly surprised they said no, but there is one other guy I'm willing to include in the deal, and that's Sonny Milano. He's already 30 years old. He's probably going to be declining in the next few years. I mean, he shouldn't be declining, but we don't need him on the first line if we're going to have Brady Tkachuk. So Brady Tkachuk and a 2nd round pick in exchange for our 1st rounder in Sonny Milano. Can we get this deal done? They're going to be saying no. Give me at least a 3rd rounder or something. I'll take this 3rd rounder from the Colorado Avalanche and the New York Islanders. Can we get this deal done? They're still saying no. Give me Colorado's 3rd at least. You got to give me something here. Never mind, I guess we're just going to do our 1st rounder in Sonny Milano for Brady Tkachuk. That's a massive move right here. They're saying no, but you know why they're saying no? They need that 7th round pick. We actually don't even have a 6th round pick we can give them. So you know what? Here's a 5th rounder. You're getting a steal here. A 5th round pick? That might be the difference maker. But we got Brady Tkachuk. That's going to be a massive upgrade for our team, and I think that's the piece we are missing. So I said we would probably be sitting 20th in the entire league and fighting for a playoff spot. Well, that's not exactly what happened. We finished 28th in the entire league, 34, 43, and 5. But you know what? I'm going to blame the poor start for this seaseason. We started 1-11-1. It's pretty hard to come back from that. Brady Tkachuk was a pretty solid pickup for us. He's finishing with 76 points, but since we acquired him, 26 points in 19 games, 14 goals, 12 assists. Yeah, we're going to be an elite team next season, that's for sure. And Devin Levi, don't worry, the defense will be better in front of you next season. The entire team's going to be better. Trust me, next season, once everyone's developed, that's going to be a difference maker for this team. Now, I know I said this last season, but I'm going to say it again here. As long as everyone develops, we're going to be competing for a Stanley Cup next season. I believe we have a great core here. We have a ton of young pieces. As long as they all play up to their potential and develop correctly, we'll be great. And something that would also be nice, the 1st overall pick, because we were one of the worst teams in the entire league. What can we get here? It looks like we're dropping to 7. Who Who would have saw that one coming? Now, one thing that's actually a bit surprising is our best prospect isn't going to be coming with the 7th overall pick, but is coming with the 39th overall as we're selecting a low lead potential sniper. But I'm actually going to have to take that last statement back because this is our best prospect with the 72nd overall pick, a medium elite potential left winger. The great drafting is going to continue here because with the 138th overall, we're going to be selecting a low elite potential sniper, but selecting a 69 overall player in the 5th round, that's definitely a great pick. So we didn't really have to make any moves during the re-sign phase, but now it's time to give out some massive extensions. Roger McQueen, 8 years at 7.1 million. Your agent should be fired. You should be getting at least 12 million. But we're not quite done with the extensions yet because Kivi Haru, I'm going to give you an 8-year deal at 6.2 million. I'm going to bank on you progressing into an 85 overall, 86 overall at some point, and then this is going to be a great contract for us. Also, Kairi Yamamoto, you play your role in the 4th line, so I don't mind paying you 2 million for the next 3 years. And to finish off all the moves here, Devin Levi, I'm also going to give you an 8-year extension, 8 years, 7.3 million. I'm locking down the entire core long term here. So of course, I can make a couple free agent signs before we head into next season, and we're going to start off with Nino Niederreiter to a 1-year deal at $2 million. The next deal is going to be with Philip Hedl here. I'll do 2 years at 3.4 million. And when it comes to Brady Tkachuk, of course, we just trade for him, and I'm willing to pay him this amount. 8 years at 10.5 million. This man put up some incredible numbers when he played with us, and I'm hoping he can continue with that type of production. And when it comes to our final free agent signing, we have a ton of cap space available here, 33 million to be exact. So Alex Killorn, I'll do 5.6 million for 1 year. So here we go with the final season of video number 1 here. Gavin McKenna, Brady Tkachuk, Seth Jarvis on the first line. Players are finally starting to develop and earning their X factors. Seth Jarvis is up to an 87 overall. The second line's also looking fantastic. We got Roger McQueen here, Hoglander, and then Kiliev. 3 fantastic players, but the third line and fourth line, those are solid as well. Philip Hedl and Alex Killorn, they're going to be holding it down on that fourth line alongside Yamamoto. This team can definitely compete with the best in the league. I guess you could say we have one weakness, and that's our defense, because we don't really have a true superstar defenseman. I mean, Christian Kyrou, he's still 23 years old. He's fairly young here at 81 overall. Mikey Anderson, he's doing his thing on the top pairing. Kivi Haru, he continues to improve. He's up to an 81 overall as well at 21 years old. There's a lot of good potential with this team. As long as these guys continue to develop, we could be a 60-win team within 3 years. And to finish it all off, of course, we already know who our goaltender is. That's going to be Devin Levi. I am going to make one trade here, though. I want a different backup. So this is what the trade will be to pick up our goaltender. We're going to be picking up Guzda from the Anaheim Ducks. Probably said that name wrong, but it doesn't really matter. He's an 83 overall at 26 years old. That would be good enough for our backup here. So this is what the goaltending tandem is looking like now. If we're not winning 50 games this season, I don't know what's going on. So I think it's time the New Mexico Outlaws become one of the best teams in the entire league. I'm not making this trade right here, but I'm willing to make this trade. We're going to be trading next season's first round pick because we're going to be a good team. We're going to try to pick up Brandt Clark here. He's an 87 overall. He's already got a superstar X factor. He'll be the best defenseman on our team, and I think that would be the difference maker. I think what we're missing right now is a superstar defenseman. Can we get this deal done like that? I'm not overly surprised, but I'm willing to give up quite a bit to get Brandt Clark. So if I add Linden, the prospect we just drafted with the 7th overall pick, is that going to be enough to get this deal done? I'm not surprised the LA Kings are saying no. Now, I don't necessarily want to give up more draft picks because we already have basically no draft capital for the next couple of years, but I'll throw a 3rd rounder in the deal. Is this enough to get it done? They're saying no, but it's just a bit low. We're bringing Brandt Clark onto the team, and of course, in order to get this deal done, a 7th round pick is going to be the difference maker. We just picked up one of the best defensemen in the entire league. He's still on a 3-year deal at $5.8 million. The New Mexico Outlaws are about to win a Stanley Cup. So it's about time the New Mexico Outlaws become one of the best teams in the entire league. We're going to be finishing 7th here with a 49, 27, and 6 record. And honestly, I'm pretty surprised. We were borderline a 50-win team this season, but we only finished 7th. Our offense, it was pretty good, 3.44 goals per game, but our defense was really the difference maker, 3rd in the entire league, 2.77 allowed. The New Mexico Outlaws are here, and this team's going to keep on getting better. Our young prospects are going to continue to develop. This team's going to be number 1 in the entire league next season. That's a fact. And just look at the scoring on this team. Brady Tkachuk, he's got 76 points. Roger McQueen, 75. Hoglander, he picked up 73 points. An incredible season from him. Gavin McKenna, 71 points. Seth Jarvis, 69. It doesn't matter who's on the ice. We're going to be picking up goals. And on top of the scoring being great, the goaltending's even better. 41 wins for Devin Levi, 8 shouts, a 917, a 256. I think we should be the favorites for the Stanley Cup if you ask me. And for the first time in franchise history, the New Mexico Outlaws are going to be in the postseason here, and it looks like their first matchup is going to see them taking on the Arizona Coyotes. So for the New Mexico Outlaws, things were looking absolutely fantastic for this team, taking the first 2 games of the series. Now we're in game 6 and we're down 3-2 in this series, and we're also down 3-1 in game 6 here. So I'm going to jump into this one. Hopefully I can spark a comeback. Also, I was positive that I set our away jerseys to the correct team color. Apparently I didn't. So even though our primary colors are red and orange, it looks like we're going to be teal and orange here. But it doesn't really matter what color our jerseys are, because we're going to find a way to score goals here, and Alex Killorn's making this a 1-goal game. Yeah, so not going to lie, this looks kind of cooked here with the jerseys. I was like 99% sure that I did all the jersey colors and everything was all good. Apparently not. We don't even have the logos on the jerseys. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, so you might have thought that goal would be sparking a comeback for us. Yeah, well, that's not really the case. Logan Cooley's going to be picking the puck away, and he's making this a 2-goal game once again. Yeah, that's tough. But you know what? Arizona's left too much time on the clock here, and Roger McQueen, he's going to be weaving through the entire defense. He's going to go to the backhand short side. I have no clue how he got this past the goaltender, but he's making this a 1-goal game. But unfortunately, it looks like time's just not going to be on our side here. The Arizona Coyotes, they're just too good of a team, and they're going to be taking us down in the first round. Yeah, so for example, this is what the home jerseys look like. We went with red and orange with black as an extra color here. I mean, these look actually like some pretty decent jerseys. Unfortunately, that didn't translate to the away jerseys, so yeah, this is the only jersey we're going to be rocking from here on out. Unless we're the away team, because then we'll wear the away jersey. But yeah, kind of sucks that we're not going to have all the jerseys this color, especially with the logo, because the logo looks clean. So it turns out that the Arizona Coyotes are actually a really good team, as they're going to go on to win the Stanley Cup, taking the New York Islanders down in a 7-game series. So considering we took 2 games away from the Stanley Cup champions, I guess that's not a bad first postseason for us. Now, we might only have 2 picks in the upcoming draft here, but one of them's going to be a solid defenseman. He's going to have low leap potential. So there wasn't really any players we need to re-sign, but we do have to go out some extensions here. And McKenna, he's going to be costing us a pretty penny here, but of course we have to keep him around. 8 years at $11 million. McKenna might be costing us a lot of money, but Sharov here, he's going to be signing a fantastic contract with the team. 8 years at $5.9 million. And when it comes to Sam Bennett, more than likely we're going to be trading him, because he has 1 year left on his deal at $3.2 million. And if we want to sign him to an extension, we're going to have to give him $5.5 million plus, and I'm not really willing to commit that to a 32-year-old. But one thing's for certain, this man's going to have a ton of trade value. Another guy I want to bring back is Rajishka. 3 years at $3.4 million. He does his job on the third line, and he's actually producing some pretty solid results. And to finish the extensions off, can we do Philip Hedl to a 1-year deal at $1.9 million? I'd be okay with that if we can get that deal done. So I should have realized this a long time ago. If the new Mexico Outlaws want to win a Stanley Cup, there's one man we need. When we need big time goals to be scored, this guy has to be on our team. Andre Burakovsky, he's an 86 overall. He has 2 years left on his deal at 33 years old. This man's the face of our franchise. We gotta bring him onto the team. The fact that I didn't have him on the team earlier, I'm actually a bit disappointed in myself. So we're gonna make this deal right here. We might have got finesse there, but we just got Andre Burakovsky, and he's surely going to turn this team around. Now, we do have a bit of cap space left, so I'm just going to make some small signings to help our bottom 6. So I don't even know where a guy like Vladimir Tarasenko is going to be playing on our team, but you know what? He definitely can't make us worse, and I'm going to outbid the Carolina Hurricanes $5 million for 1 season. And on top of bringing Vladimir Tarasenko onto the team, I don't think Taylor Hall can make us any worse either, so I'll bring him here as well. And with those moves completed, it's time to simulate to next season and see what the team's looking like. Now, normally I would go through a deep dive of our team here, but you know what? We just completed the first 5 seasons of the video, and now we got to move on to episode 2 here, so I'm going to save the deep dive for that. We've done a great job with the rebuild so far. The team's looking absolutely fantastic. We can now compete with the best in the league, and over the next 5 seasons, we're definitely going to be winning some Stanley Cups. But I'm going to save that for next episode.